Welcome everybody to the University of Sioux Falls Athletic Department Media Day. We're glad to have you here, student athlete, coaches, members of the media, and a special thank you for our audience listening online. This is the first year that we've done a live press conference on our Fall Media Day, and we'll continue to do them moving forward with our Winter Media Day with basketball and other sports. So again, I thank you all for coming. First on the agenda is fourth year Director of Athletics Josh Schneider, who will make a statement about things that are going on, positive things, upbeat things about the University of Sioux Falls. Josh?
Thanks, Dan. First off, thank you to the media for coming. We really appreciate the support that you all give us. Sioux Falls community is wonderful and supportive of USF and all the high school and college sports in the area, and so we couldn't do it without you, and we're very appreciative. So thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting these great student athletes. You know, it's fun sitting here in year 4 as the AD at USF and, you know, looking out and actually knowing the faces in the room. You know, the beautiful young faces that do so much for this institution and to help us have the success that we have. And, you know, I'm very proud to serve as the athletic director here at USF. These programs, this is my favorite time of year. You know, the fall is the busiest time, certainly, and may not be my wife's favorite time since I don't get to see her quite as often as normal, but this is definitely the best time of year. This is the reason we're in this business. We're here because, you know, we want these student athletes to have a tremendous experience at USF, athletically, academically, a great experience here in Sioux Falls, out in the community. And the fall is always just that time when you kickstart it. Even for the sports that aren't yet in season, this is the time of year that, you know, we get everyone back and we get to celebrate, you know, another tremendous year here as a Cougar. So last year was a great year. The last, you know, few years that I've been here, as well as the 5 we've been in Division II, have all been great. You know, when I think about the success that we've had winning conference championship last year in football for the first regular season title that we've had here in the Division II era, winning the women's basketball conference tournament championship the year before, and making conference tournaments, making NCAA tournaments, having individual national champions, it's really been a tremendous time. And you know, I mentioned not just athletics but academics. We here at USF have the last 2 years been received the Division II President's Award for Academic Excellence, which signifies an academic success rate of greater than 90%, which essentially is a graduation rate. And you know, we couldn't be more proud. We're one of 21 schools, I believe, to receive it each of the last 2 years, one of 26 last year. And it's just a tremendous honor, and it speaks volumes about the quality of individuals that these coaches recruit to this campus, many of which come from this area. So, you know, it's great. We're excited. We look forward to a wonderful fall. I know the football team is chomping at the bit to get back and try to repeat. The volleyball team had a great year last year, qualifying for the conference tournament, and picked to go back, and they want to do bigger and better things. They've got a lot of young talent back. And our soccer team has improved tremendously each of the last couple years. And I heard it firsthand from the coach that this is going to be the year that they make some strides. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think they've made strides each of the last couple years. But it's been a lot of fun being the athletics director here, and I can't wait for another fall. And I just want to reiterate thanks for coming again. So without further ado, I'll start this off by introducing our first year head coach in the sport of football. He'll talk a little bit more about the program, but we couldn't be happier to have him leading these young men out on the field in a couple of weeks. And so please welcome John Anderson.
All right, thank you, Josh. First of all, I'd like to echo those words that Josh mentioned to our Sioux Falls media. I've been to some of these things before in the past, not here where it's me and the SID, so to see you guys out here, I appreciate that. Also our Sioux Falls radio and also the voice of the Cougars there in the back of the room. I appreciate all you guys coming out and the coverage that you'll give our team and all these teams this fall throughout the year. I appreciate that. Also, our SID, Dan Gensler, for putting this together and the work that he does and online and also in print does a great job. It's a blessing every day to be able to wake up and be the head football coach at the University of Sioux Falls, and I'm thankful for that opportunity and the opportunity to be able to lead our young men and take care of our coaching staff and let them do the things that they need to do. It's basically, if I did my math right, 8 months and 10 days since I last stood pretty much at this same spot and got to introduce my plan and my philosophy for this program. In that time frame, we've put together with the help of our administration an outstanding staff that has some familiarity with the university and some background with the school, but also a group of guys that have come here because of the tradition and wanting to learn that and come here for the great opportunity that presents itself. And we've hit the ground running over these 8 months, familiarizing ourselves with our team, which I'll get more into later, but also recruiting at a breakneck speed on short notice, implementing schemes in time for spring football, and being able to get to know one another as well. So that staff I couldn't be prouder of. They've done an outstanding job. They've bought into being at USF, and they understand the tradition, they understand the culture for service that we have, and are a very productive part of it now. Like I said, they've been recruiting like crazy, almost nonstop until fall camp started here for this first class that we brought in, all over in high schools, all over in transfers, and have done a great job all the while being behind in that, but working towards our next class, and we got a great start on that. The most significant progress that we've made in these short 8 months has to deal with getting in front of our players, building those relationships with those existing guys, and many of them are here today, and there's many more that could be standing up here with us today. But the progress we've made is all due to them and allowing me and my staff to get to know them, get to understand where they come from and what makes them tick, and allowing us to be a part of this program. And I'm appreciative at the highest level for that. And guys, thank you for those of you that are in here. But we got tremendous buy-in and tremendous relationships being built that will really help us when we're tested out on the field in those stressful times. We're 7 practices in. We had 104 players come to camp, and we have 19 total practices to get ready for our home opener, which is, I just say that and I get a little stressed out because that's a really short amount of time for us. But we have a plan in place, and our staff and our players have been executing that plan to a T, and hopefully the weather holds out and we don't have to adjust that plan, and we'll be able to continue that. But it consists of being able to learn and being able to rehab our bodies and be able to get back out on the field. 19 days is short in the fact that we got to learn everything that we're doing, but we can't push these guys too far physically and be unable to play our first game. So they've done a great job with that, and we've been able to stay healthy to this point, and looking forward to some great practices coming down the road. Things that I hear, and I know our players do too, there's some things that are out of our control, and it has to do with national rankings, conference rankings, players that have graduated, coaches that have moved on, and for the most part those things are in the past and out of our control. And we can control one thing and one thing only, and that's what happens within the framework of our team now, and we're blocking that noise out and being productive with where we want to go and what we want to do. And some of these guys may talk about that, but we can't control the voices outside of our program. We can only control our actions inside the program. And to date, I'm very proud of the actions that they've had and the progress that they've made, and we're looking forward to putting those actions out on the field in competition. Tomorrow is going to be a big scrimmage for us. Anybody's welcome. It's an open scrimmage, but we're calling that separation day. We have tremendous competition going on in our fall camp at all positions. Some are a little bit heavier than others, but we're looking forward to guys separating themselves tomorrow. And in our program, we talk about guys that are ready to play. They're above the line. They can be in the game and be able to be productive for us. And then there's those guys that aren't quite ready. They're below the line. So we're trying to get as many guys above the line as we can going into another couple practices before we start our prep for our first game. And tomorrow will be a big part of that. And some things will start to shake out, and we'll continue to see great competition. But couldn't be prouder of this group of men, couldn't be more proud to stand up in front of them as their head coach every day, and it's a tremendous blessing that I've received from the university. So thank you very much.
One of the things that we are doing this year at our press conference is having the voice of the student athlete come out through some of their own thoughts and feelings about being part of their respective programs. We will have a student athlete from each of the three programs here, football, volleyball, and soccer, speak following their coach. I will just say one of the outside forces, this program, football, two-time All-NSC safety Josh Butler will come up and talk. But one of the things of note is for the 36th strength poll, the University of Sioux Falls football team has been ranked, and they're ranked top 20. There are 3 national rankings. I know John doesn't care about that, but some of us SID types kind of enjoy that, and alums enjoy that. Josh, you want to come up and talk about the opening camp? Josh Butler.
Thank you, Dad. Yes, as the fall camp has started, it's been a long journey since getting our new coaches, being able to find that rhythm, being able to find the establishment and find within each other that this new season that we're going to have is going to be the same and dominant season that we want to have for all our players. We're looking to go back to win another conference championship, and we're looking to go win a national championship. And it starts with the players inside the locker room, building that family relationship, building that chemistry between each other. At the beginning of when the coaches did get chosen, it was a little rocky. People didn't know what was going on. People didn't know what to expect. But through the course of winter conditioning, through the course of spring ball, we found that trust within our head coach, and we found that trust within all the rest of the coaches that we believe in each other, and we believe that we can strive for another championship, and we can strive for another national championship, and building the bonds with each other. Every day is a new day. Every day is a competition day. Throughout the course of practices, we have competition at the beginning of practice, through the practice, and at the end of practice. In the competition, that's where there says that line. Are you above it or are you below it? And that really comes down to who's going to compete and who's going to really want that battle between the offense and the defense. They bring out their best side, and we bring out our best side every day. And I know every day that they're going to give it all they got, and we give it all we got. Building that aspect and building onto that, that's what the striving for excellence is, what we're trying to perceive. We're trying to go to the top, and we're not going to listen to anything anybody else has to say. We've seen the preseason polls. We've seen where we've been ranked, and we're not satisfied with that. Our motto that we're going with, our dignity that we're trying to live with is talk is cheap. Everybody's going to talk. Everybody's going to say something. Everybody's going to have their opinion. But we believe within those walls, that's our family. That's what we believe in. We believe in each other, having each other's backs, and being able to compete with each other for the championships that we want to achieve. There's not much more to say. Winners win. That's what winners do. That's what we live by. And just going on to have a great season. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Here at the University of Sioux Falls, we're about faith, family, service, and integrity and academic excellence. And these student athletes and coaches represent that across the span. And one of the guys that represents it especially well is our head volleyball coach, Joe McCartney, in his 7th year here. This is a gentleman that's won 444 matches in his career, 97 here at the University of Sioux Falls. His team's coming off a record of 19-10. Joel, if you want to come up and talk about this year and how this team is going to be.
Well, first of all, thanks for, do you want me to lift this? Oh, I'm good. I just want to echo the thank you to Josh and to Dan and their administrative leadership in putting these kinds of things together, especially the media, because I remember the first year that Dan came in and we really tried to get this thing moving. We had one radio person here, and it was kind of a very empty room outside of that, outside of the coaches and athletes that were in the place. And so it's growing, and I think it's growing because of their leadership, but also the support of a wonderful media that does more than just cover football. We're very thankful that they also cover the women's side of things and our sports as well. Very appreciative of that. With our fall camp, the ladies reported on Saturday, and we ran through the meetings and the necessary compliance things over the weekend, and then we started our fall camp training on Monday morning. We're a little bit different than football in that we get a little bit more opportunity, but we don't have as much physical pounding against our bodies, and so that's probably the rationale for it being a little bit different. That said, we've had some physical pounding so far, and so we've got a few injuries that really aren't of substantial note. Nobody's out at this point for the season, but we've got some nagging things early on in the preseason that haven't dampened our spirits. Where we're at right now with the outlook is we are preseason ranked 7th, which doesn't sound great unless you are on the inside of the NSIC volleyball and have a thorough knowledge of what that means. We are 7th, but even the team that finished 8th in the preseason ranking for our conference is a nationally ranked program in the top 25. So go figure. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but we don't put we're kind of like John. We don't put a lot of stock into that. We feel like what we do on the court is really the only relative measure. And at the end of the season, we're hoping to get back to the conference tournament where we were last year. We're hoping to best last year's performance, which was the best that we've had in the Division II era in program history. And we're doing that with a mix of talent. With me today, I have our setter from last year, Sydney Schaap, who is a senior. And also speaking later will be, and I don't mean to steal your introductory thunder, but Janelle Lamb was a defensive specialist vying for the libero role this fall with me today as well. So those two seniors, along with a very talented junior class, where we had 3 starters last year, and those 3 starters were really the biggest impact in terms of statistical numbers or data that we have, coupled with 5 incredibly talented freshmen. And so I want to thank our associate head coach, also my wife, Andrea McCartney, who's done an outstanding job over our time here in recruiting great talent. She is our recruiting coordinator. And we have some athletes in that freshman class that are beating down the door to be able to create a role for themselves in the team mix and have an opportunity to get on the floor as starters as well and make their way. With that mix, going back a year, last year we felt like we really had just sort of one spot that we needed to make a decision on. And that became evident through the preseason in the first 2 weeks of the season. And then we were sort of in that starting lineup for the rest of the season. And that created a lot of comfort for me as a head coach because there weren't a lot of decisions to make and it didn't seem like I had to spend a lot of time in that area. This year I'm afraid that we've been cursed with great freshman talent coming in and trying to make my job harder. And so I think I'm going to have a lot of homework ahead of me in trying to decide not only personnel decisions but also system decisions. I was talking on radio this morning with the question in mind of, do you have a system that you recruit to, or do you recruit and then build a system? And I'm kind of the latter. We have just sort of made our way in building this program up by recruiting great athletes and then building a system around those athletes each year. It's looked a little bit different. I don't think that'll be unusual for us to go through this year as well. I think that's kind of how we've started the preseason, and that's our job now, is to figure out. I love the word Josh used when he was talking about finding their way, rhythm, and I think that's something that right now we're in the storming process and people competing and vying for positions. I'm looking forward to being able to find our rhythm, being able to assign the personnel roles and go from there. When it comes to our conference season, we've got a couple of weekends before we hit the conference running, and we think we've got our hands full, but our preseason competition schedule, I think, is the best that it's ever been in the time that we've been here, and so I think it's going to prepare us well for an outstanding conference year. Again, just very thankful to have the time and attention of our media and that interest, and for this event, and appreciative of being here today. Thanks.
Next up for us is Janelle Lamb. She's a senior defensive specialist who had just under 2 digs a match last year. So she'll probably triple that if she's a libero or more or whatever it is. I didn't say that right, but that's okay. Janelle, if you want to come up and talk about the excitement that you and your teammates are feeling as a group, we'd love to have you and let the people hear what you have to say. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks, Dan. Kind of just to reiterate what my coach said, we're coming off a really strong season last year, and a lot of those younger girls that we had and the younger talent have now grown and they're older, so now are more experienced players. So it's really exciting to see them in new roles and to see how our team has grown in that aspect. With that, we have a lot of depth in our team. Like our coach said, we have new freshmen coming in that are competing for roles every day, which creates a really good, competitive environment for us at practice, and it's completely different and more competitive atmosphere than we've ever had. So it really strives to make everyone better every single day. At camp for these past few days have been incredible, and this is the closest group of girls that I think we've ever had, so for the good and the bad, but it's really a special group of girls that we've never had this type of atmosphere and environment, so I think we can do some really big things this year. After coming off of our best season last year, it's exciting to see what more we can do. Like I said, we have a very competitive group of girls, and we just have the best, I think, some of the best athletes that we've ever had on this team, and we're just fighting for positions every single day. So it's exciting to see where this season can take us, because we did come off our best season, and we're looking to strive towards breaking into that top 25 in the nation. We did finish 29th last year, so we think it is an attainable goal with this more competitive atmosphere that we can strive to make it in that top 25, and it's something we can really strive for. So we're just looking forward to see where this season takes us.
Next up is third-year soccer coach Brittany Domino. She's taken this program to higher level each and every year that she's been here. It's been really an amazing accomplishment, and now she has brought more recruits in, and so it offers for an exciting year. Amidst all the rain and everything, it doesn't matter in soccer, does it, Brittany? You want to come up and talk to everyone about your team? Thanks.
I'll just start off by, I guess, echoing the echo of just thanking everybody for coming out and giving this opportunity for us to kind of talk about our programs, because our girls put in a ton of hard work. It's nice to see that getting recognized and whatnot. So Josh kind of hinted at it earlier, and I told myself, come up here, don't show how excited you really are, but it's hard with, I think, the program we've started to put together. When I sat down and thought about my thoughts about preseason so far, even though we're 3 days in, not even full 3 days yet, excited was the only word I could really come up with. there's a buzz within our team right now. We've spent the last 2 years really trying to identify who USF soccer is, what it means to be a USF soccer player. So we've made big strides with that. We've cut the goals against in half big time. We've lost 8 games by 1 goal. This year I think that's going to change. We no longer have to spend preseason focusing on some of those big things. We can focus on soccer. We can focus on the details of really putting everything together, who plays best together, and things like that. And that's awesome as a coaching staff. We have a great group of returners, a lot of leaders within our program, 2 of them with me here today that have been with me since day 1, really. Put a lot of work into helping build this program. I think it's awesome to see where we're at now as a team, to really send these girls off with a really solid season. Girls put in a lot of work. We changed a lot of things up in the spring with them. They put in a ton of work in the off season. Our freshmen have come in and kind of been those final puzzle pieces we've been missing every year. We've been just missing something, and I think we finally have a full team we have put together out here to really make some big steps. The NSIC is a very good soccer league, but I think we would be disappointed in our season this next year if we don't make that conference tournament, if we're not picked in that final top 8. Again, like I said, we missed out on 8 games by 1 goal. We've really focusing on our offensive side of the game this year, how we can tweak things a little bit, and we brought those players in, things like that. So we're there. It's hard because I am very excited. Our players are very excited. I think after day 1, sounds funny, but they said, hey, we have a soccer team. We've got the athletes. We've got the girls that can keep the ball. They know how we want to play. Our upperclassmen are doing a really good job at showing the underclassmen what it's like to be a USF soccer player. It no longer has to come from the coaching staff. This is what it means to play here. They're stepping in and leading in those roles. We are a young team, but we're an experienced team. We played 5-6 freshmen consistently last year, so they've got that experience coming in. Again, we have the good leadership with the 2 girls we have out here today with us, and some really talented freshmen as well. That's going to make my job tough. We have the depth and everything in place. So I think, again, big things for us. I think people are going to start paying attention a little more to USF soccer and what we can accomplish this year, because I think the only thing that can really hold us back is ourselves. We're used to grinding games out, so I think our biggest goal this year is we learn how to win. Winning's a habit, and we've got to get into that habit this year and really get those results out of some of these games. So yeah, we're ready to go. I brought senior captain, I'm stealing Dan's thunder as well, Morgan Perkins, one of our goalkeepers, with us today to give a little more of the players' perspective on their thoughts and everything.
Hi. So just to kind of recap what we've done so far this preseason, we brought in a handful of freshmen that when I saw them the first day, I looked at Brittany and said, well done, because it blew me out of the water. She told me when I got here to give her 3 years, and it only took her 2.5. So it was a nice relief as a goalkeeper to see those kind of missing pieces that we had on defense and both on offense kind of get thrown back together, and we looked like a soccer team, and it was so exciting. It was like Christmas morning all over again. So it was a good sign, and ever since then, since first practice, we scrimmaged, and you kind of saw what we had, what we didn't have, and there was not much we didn't have this year, which was really exciting. The freshmen have stepped up, kind of followed behind what the upperclassmen have shown, and just given a sense of purpose and a sense of excitement behind it all, and just showed what they can do and what they can offer, and kind of put some upperclassmen even to their best spot they've ever been, because there is competition. Like in every practice we're going in, we're doing competition stuff, so whether it's finishing, big-sided games, little-sided games, we're all across the board. It's competition, and it's not who's just going to be the 11 and then everybody else can kind of fill in. It's, hey, who's going to be the 11 and then who's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 off the bench. So no longer is it just 11 players making an impact. It's going to be a tough grind to see who's going to travel, who's going to really show up and be a big part of this team this year. So it's an exciting thing. It's something that I have dreamed about since I came here, just to see it all evolve and come together, and it's definitely going to be a fun senior year, so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, that will pretty much do it. You guys want to go ahead and do your one-on-ones afterward? Yes. So I think we should give a special hand to our student athletes. I think they were rock and roll superstars today in presenting about their respective programs, and so we really appreciate you to being here, Josh, Janelle, Morgan, along with the coaches, Coach Anderson, Coach McCartney, and Coach Domino. So that'll wrap it up, and we'll take care of the media now afterward. Thanks for coming, and we also want to thank the online, our alumni and supporters that have tuned in today to watch our press conference live for the first time. Thanks. Go Coup.